Good evening, everyone, and welcome out to MidSouth Madness, where we are presenting the playoffs. This is week number 4 of the playoffs. We are currently in the round of 9. So the way our playoffs work, 9 drivers are out there on the track. They are in the playoffs right now. The first 7 that cross the finish line tonight will be into the round of 7. And so we're keeping this going until we get down to 5 drivers, and then they will have a 1 race shootout where basically the first person across the finish line will win the money. And so we'll talk about the money here in a little while, but we are here at Kansas Speedway at the No Place Like Home 150. So there are 100 laps out here. Very difficult track tonight. These are fixed setups. The setup that these drivers have been given, most of the drivers do not like them. They're very, very tight. And so because of that, it's really hard to get that car to turn. And so you'll see a lot of that tonight. You'll see a lot of guys brushing that outside wall tonight because they are not able to get it turned. So we will see what happens there. But right now out on the track, we've got, looks like 24 drivers out there on the track, and we're going to get a few more here in the next few minutes. They've got about 17 minutes left of practice, and then they will get to qualifying. But let's jump in really quick. Thomas Rutherford, he always talks to a driver or someone in the league for TR's Corner. And the guy that's been on a tear lately has been Bobby Brill. So he sat down and talked to Bobby Brill this week. So let's see what Bobby Brill has to say about what is going on right now.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to TR's Corner here on this Sunday morning. Still in the playoffs, MSM Season 2. A lot of good battles starting to brew for the championship, and I have today one of the guys that's at the top of the heap in those battles, Mr. Bobby Brill. Bobby, how are you this morning?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing really good. So good to have you on the program. I was hoping to get you on before the end of the season. We got a lot to talk about with you, especially fresh off win number 4. You had 3 wins in the regular season, 1 win in the playoffs so far. You're right at the top. What's been your secret this season?
I don't know if I can reveal that, but probably just practicing a lot, getting in the time when I can. And that's about it.
It's a lot of hard work and effort going in. I know we've talked about running hot laps. You like to get that hot lap down. How do you feel that helps you in the race, or does
it? Getting a hot lap in, I mean, if we're constantly doing short runs and it comes down to the final couple laps, I feel like I can hang in there better than doing long runs than having a short run at the end and then not knowing where to let off or brake and just messing everything up. I feel like getting a hot lap in really benefits at the end if it does come down to a short run.
And we've had a lot of those this season, and I'm sure having confidence in that car makes a difference. The other thing a lot of people have had, whether it's been on restricted tracks or whether it's been on some of these 1.5 miles, even shorter tracks, the teammate situation. That's been big this year with MSM Season 2. You're currently independent. You started out with a team. You were on the do-gooders. What's been the biggest difference for you this season running with a pack of 3 and 4 guys versus being on your own as an independent?
The biggest difference is not having anybody to work with that is willing to work with you, that's on your team, versus constantly having to ask somebody to work with you or something, being independent. Me and Brian, we've started coming together at the end of the season. We've been talking together, working together a little bit here and there. So that's about it.
Yeah, I'm sure it's, you talk about putting in a lot of practice too. I'm sure there's some differences there, but has it really affected your performance? I mean, again, 4 wins, sitting at the top of the playoffs. We're going to Kansas tonight, 100 laps at Kansas. What do you see for the race this evening?
Tire management, I think, is going to be a big factor in it. Saving fuel, if it comes down to a long run, as it has in the last couple races, people run out of gas. I expect to see a couple of people into the wall as the tires wear down if it does end up in a long run. That's mainly it, saving tires and fuel.
So last question I'll ask you, and I've asked this of everybody, especially those playoff contenders that's been on the show this season. If you're not going to win the playoffs, who's your pick?
My pick, well, I plan on winning, but if it doesn't come down to me, I think Adam or Daniel, either one of those, Daniel Ball or Adam Pettit, will get it.
And we won't jinx them here on the show, but I appreciate you weighing in on that. Again, Bobby Brill, thanks for being on. Glad we got to catch up with you. Good luck tonight at Kansas.
Alrighty, thank you. You going to be out there?
Yep, I'll see you there tonight.
Alrighty, I'll see you.
All right. Once again, that was Bobby Brill. Right now, he is our playoff leader. He has 4 wins on the season. The next closest driver only has 2. So he has definitely been on a tear, especially here in the playoffs. And, you know, Brandon Superman Brand Browning is with me right now. And, Brandon, I got to ask you about Bobby because he's an independent driver. And most would see that as a disadvantage, but he's been on a tear as an independent.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Bobby Brill has done his own thing, and honestly, I know, he had his issues with Bronco, decided to become independent, and I'm going to tell you, Sean, Bobby Brill is a much better driver now that he's independent. I mean, he had his success all the way back when he was a member of the first team that he was on, the Do-Gooders, correct? I think, yeah, he was on the Do-Gooders, and then he transitioned into Bronco Motorsports, and he did pretty good there, but, I mean, he's really come alive and held his own as an independent driver. And honestly, I know I don't know if you've talked about the storylines tonight as far as with Dean Brummett. Danny Dow not in the lobby yet either. It starts to be worrisome.
We'll get to it, definitely.
When we talk about the Dean situation, that's going to make him a pretty much for sure lock, in my opinion, to be the favorite in a lot of minds.
Yep, it's going to be crazy. Now, before we get any further into this race, let's talk about next season really quick. So next season, we are running 3 leagues. So Speed Racing Network is sponsoring 3 leagues, 1 in the Truck Series, 1 in the Xfinity Series, and 1 in the Cup Series. So the Truck Series will be on Wednesday nights. The Xfinity will be on Thursday nights, and the Cup Series will be on Sunday nights. And so you can see there $5 for the truck, $10 for the Xfinity, $15 for the Cup Series, 20-week schedules, and then you can see the prize money there. So a lot of great prize money out there. So $300 first place for the trucks, $500 first place for the Xfinities, and then $1,000 first place for the Cup Series.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, you see the I ratings required. You see, how many weeks it is, how much money's up for grabs. So if that's something that suits you, there are a couple of people that you can get in touch with as far as pertaining to the next 3 seasons. It's going to be big. It's going to be insane to run for those prizes. If you think about it, these guys that are running for their championship hopes here tonight are running for $500. Next season, 2021, the beginning of 2021, we're going to offer a league worth double that in the Cup Series. So definitely stay tuned to Speed Racing Network for further details as far as, schedules and things like that. But definitely if it's something you're interested in, get a hold of us.
Absolutely. Now let's jump over to the team standings for this league. And so there's still a team championship going on. So you got Stryker Motorsports up there in first place. You got Rev Racing there in second, Stake Dance Racing in third. And then the rest of them are kind of falling behind here in this Risk It for the Brisket team championship.
Yeah, honestly, we have Kansas tonight, we have Las Vegas, and then we have the season finale at Auto Club. I think this one's just about a 2-man race, Sean. I just don't see. Wait, we are at Kansas, correct?
Yes, we're at Kansas tonight. Okay. That's correct.
Yeah, I felt wrong for saying that for some reason, but it's become pretty much a 2-man race. Stake Dance, if they have an absolutely insane, which again, we say Stryker, but there's some stipulations there, Sean, that we'll get to in a little while. But, Stake Dance has to have an absolutely phenomenal, perfect last couple of races here in order to put themselves back in the championship. Because as of right now, if I had to pick a favorite at the end of the season, with the current stipulations, I'm going to have to go with Rev Racing to capitalize.
Yeah, we'll talk about what's going on here in just a second because definitely some interesting scenarios going on. But let's talk about each team here with the Paints by Night team introductions. So definitely go on to Ashton Knight, or go and look for Ashton Knight on Trading Paints. So he is a great painter for these iRacing vehicles. So if you have any paint needs, you can go to speedracingnetwork.com and order your paint from Paints by Night. So let's start off with Stryker Motorsports, and you know what? Let's go ahead and break the news now, Brandon.
This is the hardest thing that I've had to say in this broadcast booth for Speed Racing Network. The man in control of the season having some trouble, and first and foremost, before I even get into that, I want to start it by wishing him the best and let him know that I am praying for his speedy recovery. The man in the 25 car, Dean Brummett, currently in a hospital bed, double pneumonia and COVID, currently affecting Dean's ability to race here. But before we get into the rest of his teammates, I have to say this man is in a hospital bed. He feels worse than you could even imagine. And he's still got that steering wheel, Sean. He is still trying his hardest to get into this race lobby.
That's correct. So last update I have, he's trying to use the hospital Wi-Fi to get onto iRacing on an old laptop, and he does have his wheel and his pedals there with him. So he's trying to download the race right now. He's sitting at about 40% on the download. I just don't know if hospital Wi-Fi is going to cut it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the hospital that Dean's at, the hospital that my son was born at, I struggled to watch Netflix the night before my son was born, so it's not going to look too good, but we will get into his teammates, and I'm praying. I've got my fingers, my toes, everything that I can cross. They're crossed that Dean makes it in and is able to pull the majority of that Wi-Fi to try to make this thing happen. But he's also Travis Trevelyan, the number 71, the number 9 car, Jake Crowell, also another playoff driver with 2 wins, and the number 15 of Jacob Smith has found victory lane, has had some solid runs. He's running for our Tier 2 playoffs, but he is not running for the $500 winner takes all.
So great team there, but right on their heels is Revved Racing, and Adam Pettit and Aaron Gerwitz are both still in the playoffs right now, so they've got a lot to prove tonight.
Yeah, and honestly, I was able to make the practice race, and I've listened and heard some of the words around the league. A lot of guys worried about that 57 car. Now, Aaron Gerwitz in the 09 hasn't quite had such a good playoff, Sean, but he's still alive, and that's all you can ask for. You just need to be alive. The only race that's going to matter is the season finale, but Adam Pettit definitely has had the hot hand.
Next up, we've got Stake Dance Racing, and so they are the sponsors of the Risk It for the Brisket Team Championship. So go to stakedance.com and get your seasoning there. Absolutely amazing seasoning, and that will play into who my pick is tonight, honestly. So you got the number 6 of Daniel Bowdler, you got the number 8-12 of Chad Wampler, the number 2 of Troy Dow, and the number 39 of Stan Hausman.
This team, if we had a bad luck team, it has to be this team. They started the playoffs with 4 drivers in the playoffs, and just about halfway through the playoffs, they wound up with just 1. The man up top of your screen, Daniel Bowdler, the lone Stake Dance Racing driver left inside of the playoffs, but don't count out the other 3 with their ability to still reach up and grab this win.
Yep, Bronco Motorsports, another team that's kind of on the rise, even though there's nobody in the playoffs for them right now. So the number 83 of Chris Massey, the number 84 of Greg Olnick, the number 85 of Brad Herman, and the number 86 of Brian Grocker.
And I tell you what, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Brad Herman is everywhere on iRacing. If you haven't heard of Brad Herman yet, you will. He runs everything he can get his steering wheel locked in on. And I have it on good authority that they're running some pretty nice Halloween-themed paint schemes tonight, Sean.
They are. I can't wait to see those. But next up, we got Tank Racing, and they still do have a driver in the championship playoff, and that is Devin Zimmerman, the number 33.
Yeah, and Devin Zimmerman, he's had a couple solid races, and just last week, if you missed the race last week, definitely after this, stick around for this broadcast, but go back afterwards and check out last week. Devin Zimmerman was less than a lap short on fuel. He was less than a lap short on fuel of taking home the victory.
And you can hear in the background right now, Brandon's child did not like that very much. So definitely Zimmerman running out of fuel hurt a lot of people, but he still made it into the next round of the playoffs. So still alive, and also still alive on Team SRN. So one of the drivers there, Danny Dow in the number 21 car. Then they've got the 78 of David Duke, the number 17 of Danny Setzer, the number 44 of Thomas Rutherford. So another great team out there that is just trying to keep things going a little bit. And the other big news for tonight, I do not see Danny Dow in the lobby at this time. And so he's got about 14 minutes to get into the lobby. Otherwise, he will lose that spot. So that is last season's defending champion, Danny Dow. So we've got a few minutes to get him in there, and then it will get going. Next up, we got Flashpoint Racing. And so Flashpoint was a team that kind of came together mid-season. And so the number 8 of Justin Boyles, the number 66 of Jonathan Byard, the number 62 of Matt Johnson, and the number 00 of Marshall Stanley. And the number 62 of Matt Johnson is also still in the playoffs. And so still one driver on this team that is still in there. But I will tell you that all 4 of these drivers are incredible drivers. They just kind of came together last minute, but it has really worked out for them. So really great guys, really great drivers. Next up, we got the do-gooders. So the do-gooders, if you had to call them what they are, they're the fun team. They're the team that's out there to have a good time. They definitely compete, and they get out there, and they run really well. Taylor Smith was one of our original playoff drivers. But they're out there also to have a good time, but they're also out there to win. And at any moment, any of these 4 guys could sneak up and get that win. So keep an eye on them. Next up, you got H2K Motorsports, so hard to kill, and that's really what they've been, is hard to kill, man. They're always there. So the number 88 of Joseph DuPont is their leader. He originally was in the playoffs as well. So the number 13 of Josh Witt, the number 19 of Justin Kruckman, the number 42 of Duncan Staraska. And so last couple of weeks have been kind of rough for these guys, but hopefully we can get them back on the right track. So definitely Joseph DuPont, one of the better road racers in the league, and also now an endurance racer as well. So keep an eye on him.
Well, I know, we're getting to the end here of the team standings, Sean, and my little boy was bouncing around on the bed a little bit, hurt his neck. So that's why he was crying. I did take that opportunity to reach out to one of my good friends, Daniel Dow. He is not going to be here tonight. They wound up racing Troy's late model. 45 minutes from home does not put him in the window to make the race tonight.
Oh, that is horribly disappointing. But for those other playoff drivers in there, if Dean Brummett cannot make it in and Danny Dow cannot make it in, then that means they are automatically through to the next round. And that will be a sigh of relief because a lot of people were struggling with this track.
Well, and another sigh of relief is if I had to give you my 3 picks to be strong going into the final race, those are 2 of my 3 strong picks.
Yeah, I mean, it's just huge disadvantage there. So next up, Jam Racing. So number 5 of Mike Lewis, number 4 of Jay Graves, number 96 of Joe Ruggles. And so they're out there. Yes, they're in last place in the points in the team, but that's because every now and then one of them hasn't been able to show up, and that's okay. That's kind of the way it is. But these guys are learning. They're getting better each and every year. Can't wait to see what they do next year.
Yeah, and honestly, this team has came a long way. We saw early in the season, Jay Graves, he had some solid runs. Joe Ruggles struggled to really find his groove so far this year, but the laps that he was able to complete and run with these guys, he's learned a lot. He's became a better driver because of it. And, of course, there's my personal favorite Jam Racing driver, Mike Lewis. He has come an incredibly long way. I know, Mike Lewis of old struggled a little bit, around some guys at certain racetracks. But as of late, we haven't really had those Mike Lewis moments from anyone in the league, Sean. He has improved tremendously.
Yes, he has. So, all right, let's take a look at our season payouts. So, the Do-Gooder Safe Driver Award. Right now, Dean Brummett is the leader of that, and he could still win that even if he does not show up here tonight. But I will give you a news flash. I see his name on the scoreboard right now. Not sure if that means he's fully loaded in or not, and not sure if he still has the internet capability to do it. But I do see that he has logged into the race, and so we will find out what happens really shortly on that. But you got the Do-Gooder Safe Driver Award, that's $50. The Brookstone Animal Hospital Man's Best Friend Award, that's $50. That's also $25 to the charity of the winner's choice. Then you have the Steak Dance Team Championship, which is $200 for that Risk It for the Brisket Team Championship. And then the season-long Graham Champion will get $500 at the end of the season.
Yeah, and honestly, there has to be some guys in this lobby right now, Sean. If they've took a look at the entries page, the same as I have, Dean Brummett has connected. He has a better connection than some other drivers in the session. He's sitting at about a 66 ping, which is about as good as you're going to get, especially on Wi-Fi, a 99% quality. So Dean very much looks like he may be able, his quality's dropping just a hair now, but looks like he may be able to make this thing work.
That is going to be awfully interesting. But take a look at the playoff drivers that we have going on right now. So Bobby Brill, again, you know what? I did not update that, and I apologize. He's got 4 wins as an independent, and then Dean Brummett for Striker Motorsports has 2. Then Adam Pettit from Rev Racing has 2, and then Jake Rowell. I didn't update that one either, so I apologize. I'm falling behind on my work here. So Jake Rowell from Striker Motorsports with 2 wins as well.
And in 5th place, the man that's not going to be here tonight, Danny Dow, 1 win. Daniel Bowdler, 1 win for now. Aaron Gerwitz made it in on points in 7th place. 8th place, Devin Zimmerman. In 9th place, Matthew Johnson.
Well, let's get a little bit closer to each of these guys. So Bobby Brill, we heard him on TR's Corner, and we see out in the chat Marie Brill saying, come on, Brill, let's get another win. And so here he is.
And honestly, you know, just looking at it, he's from Virginia. He's a welder, so he's not too far from me. He'd come into the playoffs ranked number 3 after the regular season. He has won, there you see it, Daytona, Indianapolis, Michigan, and last week somehow made it work with the fuel mileage to take on the victory at Homestead last week. And honestly, if something happens and we lose Danny Dow and we lose Dean Brummett as the championship favorites, I have to put Bobby Brill in first on my list.
All right, next up, you got Dean Brummett himself. And so, again, I'm not seeing him just yet out on the track, but he did log in. So we'll see if he can run any laps here. So currently in the hospital with COVID and double pneumonia, regular season ranked number 1. So he was our best point getter all during the season. He is also the Do-Gooder Clean Driver Award leader right now. So the cleanest driver and the best driver throughout the entire regular season with a couple of wins. And now he's in the hospital trying desperately to get on.
Yeah, and honestly, you know, it's been tough for him this week. I know, you know, I've known Dean relatively well over the last few years, and to see his message in the Discord earlier that he just didn't know if he had it in him with the way he feels, that took a lot from Dean Brummett, because he's not a guy that you'll ever see quit. It does not matter the circumstances. Dean Brummett will not give up, and we're going to see that tonight, much of the night, as he continues to try to make it work. One of my favorites in the league, solely because we share the same home state, West by God, Virginia. So I'm praying that Dean makes it, 1, to feeling better, and 2, into the lobby tonight.
Yeah, another really talented driver we haven't really touched on too much tonight. That's Adam Pettit in the number 57 for Rev Racing. So he's got 2 wins on the season as well. He got 1 win at Charlotte during the playoffs as well. So the key stat on him, he has led 22% of the laps this season in MidSouth Madness.
Yeah, and honestly, you know, with just, you know, 2 wins on the season, you look at it by wins and you're like, you know, he come in, he won the final race, he won a playoff race, he had a pretty silent, you know, early season in most people's minds. But when you think about it, he certainly did not. He's been a guy that's been consistent, Mr. Consistency throughout this season, 22% of the laps, Sean. And some nights we've had, you know, almost every night we've had upwards of 36, 37 drivers. So that is a huge number with the amount of drivers we've had in this field.
Absolutely just domination, but only 2 wins. So let's see if he can get his 3rd tonight. Next up, you got number 9, Jake Rowell for Striker Motorsports. This is Dean Brummett's teammate, and you know, he made a deal tonight that if Dean couldn't run, then he was running this race for Dean. As far as, you know, hey man, we got you, you know, we're here for you. And so here he is from Northville, Michigan. You know, he worked at Michigan International Speedway for 4 years, so you know, he kind of knows the lay of the land of racetracks in general. He was the number 2 rated driver throughout the regular season with 8 top 10s, but and they're in parentheses, none in the playoffs.
Yeah, and honestly, you know, he's kind of struggled a bit in the playoffs. He's had a few good runs where he climbs through the, you know, through the standings and runs his hardest, but he hasn't found victory lane. He hasn't been a front runner, a favorite in the playoffs, much like, you know, we expect Jake Rowell to be. I've known Jake for years and years, and honestly, I don't know how many races I've went into where you don't consider Jake Rowell a favorite, because he's just that daggone good at driving a race car.
Next up, Danny Dow. Now, we did hear that he is not going to be here tonight, but we'll still announce him anyway. So, number 21, Danny Dow. This is last season's champion. And so, of course, he is the father of Troy Dow, who was one of our playoff drivers also. Troy running his actual car, and Danny, just being the great father and great person that he is, decided to go ahead and miss this race so that he could be there with his son.
Yeah, and it's that shows a lot as his character as, a human being. I mean, he had the opportunity to lock in, win $500, and he decided that time with his son running that race car is what he'd rather do. And I don't fault him a single bit for it. I honestly respect, beyond words that I can say to Danny Dow. So, he's already got his Mid-South Madness championship, Sean. So it's time we pass that on to someone else. You don't want a scary two-time champion, Danny Dow.
That is absolutely correct. But one person that is out there for that championship is the number 6, Daniel Bowdler for Stake Dance Racing.
It doesn't matter if he finishes second in the championship or if he would have finished 15th in the championship. Losing is losing to this guy, and it's my favorite part about him. Watch out for this 6 car tonight. He hasn't had the season that he wanted, but tonight he will be a scary, scary driver.
Yes, he will. Next up, we got Aaron Gerwitz from Rev Racing in the 09 car. Now, this is we kind of consider him the little brother of Adam Pettit, but I got to tell you, watching him in practice this week, he has been up near the top the entire time.
Yeah, and honestly, if I'm not mistaken, yes, he does lead Revs Racing right now. No, he does not, actually. I stand corrected. He was leading Revs Racing on the scoreboard until his teammate Sean Dice crossed the start-finish line there. But excellent person. All of the Revs Racing guys are super competitive. And, if they've got something figured out that you don't know, all you have to do is ask. They're not going to keep it from you just to beat you. They're willing to help. And honestly, big fan of Revs Racing.
Next up, Devin Zimmerman, the lone driver from Tank Racing. Now, Tank had a really rough season this season, but Devin was super consistent all year long.
Yeah, and honestly, he's just squeaked by. He hasn't really found victory lane, but as we said, less than a lap away last week. He had that one locked up. If he just had one more lap of fuel, and be afraid, Devin Zimmerman's still very much alive in this playoffs.
Last but certainly not least, Matthew Johnson from Flashpoint Racing. This is a guy that joined Flashpoint Racing mid-season and still acquired the points that he needed to acquire to get into the playoffs. So his best finish so far was 3rd, both at short tracks.
Well, I'm sure in a lot of people's minds, Matt Johnson is in the same box that I've been put into when it comes to some guys. It's, hey, you're a broadcaster. You're not supposed to go out there and race with the guys running for the championship. You broadcast. Very much alive in this playoff just as well, still staying alive. As of right now, he's alive in the playoffs and, looking forward to moving to the next round. So be afraid. Not all broadcasters, just broadcast.
That's absolutely correct. So let's go out there to the track and let's thank our sponsors here. So first up, CMC Fabrication. Thank you so much for your sponsorship. They will be sponsoring the finale as well as they sponsored the very first race of the season. So if you have any fabrication needs, these guys built the winning truck at Talladega last year. So these guys know exactly how to fabricate everything they need to fabricate. Next up, you got Dent Wizard, the leaders in paintless dent repair. Then we got Brookstone Animal Hospital. Thank you guys so much. And if you have a dog or a cat or any pet, man's best friend deserves the best doctors at Brookstone Animal Hospital. Next up, Silverback Tax Solutions. If you have a tax problem, get the IRS off your back with Silverback Tax Solutions. Paints by Night. So once again, some of the leaders in painting on iRacing. So go to tradingpaints.com and look up Ashton Knight. Give him a follow, and you can see all of his amazing paints. Griffith CPA firm, making taxes less taxing since 1986. And finally, Steak Dance Seasonings. Go to steakdance.com, order your seasoning there. And, like I told you a little bit earlier, that is going to come into play with who my choice is tonight for the race.
Well, I'm interested to hear. I believe I've got an idea because as I look down the leaderboard, I do believe there's only one Steak Dancing driver in the lobby right now.
That's correct. So I'll go ahead and spill the beans right now. So Daniel Bowler is my pick, and here's the reason. Tonight, we had to figure out what dinner was, and we chose burgers. We put some steak dance seasoning on it. It was the best burger I've ever had, and it hit my mind that it's got to be Daniel Bowler tonight.
I tell you what, he's certainly been strong all week, and had you not made him your pick, he was one of my top 2. However, and I want to precurse this before I spill my pick, I have the worst luck because my guy could be like the 5th fastest in the race, and any time that I want to pick them, they steal the pole away. My guy's the man up top right now, Bobby Brill, to go back-to-back and lock his name in as a favorite.
All right. Well, Bobby Brill takes the pole with 31.024. Right behind him, Brad Herman, and then Devin Zimmerman, Sean Dice in 3rd and 4th.
5th place, Jacob Smith leading the way for Stryker Motorsports. 6th place, Aaron Gurwitz. 7th place, Jay Graves and Danny Setzer in 8th place with a beautiful qualifying time.
Chris Massey, the leader of Bronco Motorsports, in 9th. Mike Lepicki from Tank Racing, and he was a monster last season, just had a rough season this time around, but just wait until next season. He's going to be amazing. Then you got Taylor Smith, probably the most improved driver from last season to this season, so from the do-gooders. And then number 12, Travis Trevelyan from Stryker Motorsports up in the top 12.
Solid top 12 to start this thing, and the biggest one that stood out to me, the 12th place by Trevelyan, kind of capitalizing on one of his teammates being down, and that's what team racing is all about. As you continue to try to hold on to the top spot in the team championship, when one guy's down, the next man up has to step up, and so far, for the start of this race, Travis Trevelyan could not have done any better with his top 12 starting position.
That is absolutely correct. Now, Dean Brummett was not able to practice at all this week, and so his qualifying time only got him into the 23rd position, so he's got a lot of work to do. But I'll tell you, there are 3 drivers that are also in the playoffs. That's Adam Pettit, Daniel Bowler, Matthew Johnson, all qualified 18th through 20th, and so you got 4 guys from the playoffs back towards the back of the pack that have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, and honestly, I was watching alongside Dean Brummett as he qualified. He ran as many laps as the 10 minutes would allow after he qualified, just trying to get some practice. So here we are, Sean, off of turn number 4. The pace car has pulled down the field, in control by Bobby Brill, waiting for the restart zone, and he will take off. We're green flag racing at the No Place Like Home 150 at Kansas Motor Speedway.
That's right, 100 laps to figure this out. And Brandon, I said it a little bit earlier, a lot of the drivers this week were complaining about the setup being way too tight, so that it's really hard to turn these cars.
Yeah, and honestly, I think Danny Setzer found that out on lap 1, turn 1. He already has damage accrued to the rear end of that number 17 machine, dropped back a few spots outside of the top 12 now. So as they continue to dice and fight for it, the thing that I'm going to be on the rebound for, Sean, or on the lookout, I should say, the fact that actually as Danny Setzer continues through the grass on the front stretch there, not the start that 17 machine wanted. But what I'm going to look out for, the moment that one of these cars, something happens and they start dropping laps, then the pressure is off of Dean Brummett. You know, he doesn't have to worry about the hotel Wi-Fi holding up as long as he's not the first car in trouble. Now, if by chance he drops from the race, which I haven't seen him do now, he's currently still out there running, he will be okay. So hoping, obviously never wish bad on your opponents, but tonight, if you Dean Brummett, your back's against the wall, you're in the worst spot you can be in, a little bit of trouble for someone else would be huge.
Yeah, and I know Dean watches these races afterwards, and so Dean, just to let you know, out there in the chat right now, you got a bunch of people saying good luck and get well soon. So definitely get well soon. We hope that recovery is speedy, and we appreciate you doing everything you can to be here tonight, man. That is absolutely monster.
I'm going to tell you now, if I was laying up in the hospital and I didn't think I was going to be here, one, whoever brought you that steering wheel and laptop, give him a hug, because my wife would have told me I was absolutely crazy, and there's no way she brought me my steering wheel. But the dedication that he has to MidSouth Madness in this league, trying to hold up what he's done all season long, goes so far respect-wise for me, and I already respected the heck out of Dean Brummett as it was.
Definitely, he is one of the favorites in the league, not just for driving, but also just as a human being. Like, he's always willing to help people out. What a great guy. He doesn't have an enemy in the entire league, and so just a lot of fun to be around him.
Yeah, and that's for sure. I mean, that's. Oh, we got a little bit of slide, and Taylor Smith in the wall in front of Jacob Smith.
Oh, still in the wall. And once again, so yeah, I mean, man, once you get in that wall, it's so hard to get out of it because these cars, and everybody complains that they're tight. So for you viewers out there that don't know what that means, basically what that means is that you have no traction on the front tires. And if you have no traction on the front tires, those are the tires that guide your car. And so if you have no traction there, your back tires are, gripping the track and they are pushing you forward, but you're not turning. And so it is extremely tough to drive a tight car. A lot of drivers like loose cars better, and it's just not the setup that was given to these guys this week.
Well, to kind of even break it down a little bit further than that, my guys that are out here in the chat that have snow on the ground, you see the snow plows go by. If you imagine a snow plow on this track with the plow down as far as they could get it, with front tires lifted slightly off the ground and trying to drive this track at 100 mile an hour, you know what it's like to drive this race car. I've had the pleasure of running Tuesday night with these guys, and honestly, that's what it feels like, a snow plow, or actually like a front-end loader with a bucket down against the ground trying to turn around this racetrack.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's done a pretty good job so far. We will let you know that the biggest mover right now, Daniel Bowdler, started off in 20th. He is all the way up to 13th already. So that is the biggest mover. Actually, he's up to 12th now. So you will see him coming into frame. Oh, when we got a wreck, and that involves Daniel Bowdler and Taylor Smith, we will have our first caution of the race. And Daniel Bowdler lost his top.
Yeah, and that's just what I was about to say. I know that obviously Dent Wizard will take us back through the rec replay, but this goes back to what I was saying, Sean, as far as fast repairs and incidents early, because if by chance Daniel Bowdler gets into another incident of the same, he'll be on his last strike, so to speak, and just struggling to stay alive then at that point, because, we're going to lose two drivers, and one of which we've already determined to be Danny Dow. But another one of these drivers, as long as Dean's in the race, which, again, he still is, and I'll keep you updated if anything was to happen to Dean. The trouble with Daniel Bowdler now, obviously going to be fixed by a fast repair. But, Sean, you only get two of those in these 100 laps, and lap 9 seems a little early to use the first one.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for everybody. And right now we're working on getting that Dent Wizard Rec replay up for everyone here. So we apologize for the wait. We are working on that right now. There it goes.
Dent Wizard has been our busiest sponsor of the season, bringing us all of the rec replays all the way back from Daytona, and they're going to bring you this one here.
And you will see coming into the screen here on the top side, it's on the very, very top side near the Kansas Speedway sign, that is Taylor Smith. And so we're going to come around and see what happens here as Bowdler gets to his outside and Taylor Smith just runs out of room. So Bowdler couldn't go anywhere there. He was already on the top of the track. He had gotten a fender on Taylor Smith. Taylor tried to get back out to the outside. And, Brandon, that's what we're going to see a lot of tonight, people running that high line because it's so hard to turn.
Yeah, and honestly, it looked like there, Taylor knew when he come off the corner he was going to be a little hot. Backed off the throttle when he did it, kicked the car sideways. And because he kicked the car sideways, he obviously lost the momentum that the 6 car did not lose. Daniel Bowdler, the closing rate was so fast, had nowhere to go behind that number 24 machine. You'll see it here from this angle. You see he just gets out of the throttle there.
Oh.
And Daniel's there.
Yeah. So just a little nudge, and that's all it takes to put people spinning. So rough race already.
Honestly, the new damage model there, you see, this I believe is this is post-incident, so he did use a fast repair and get that 6 machine back, but the bad news, he has to go to the rear, start it all over again, and try to run back through the field because it's going to be a long night. But the new damage model is what I wanted to touch on there before that. It just took ever so slight amount of contact in the outside wall to cause the damage that you saw. He didn't look like much from our standpoint, but obviously enough to tear the entire front end off. And Daniel went from an Xfinity stock car back to what he runs in real life, essentially a Gen 6 modified. So tough way to start for Daniel Bowler.
Yeah, now he was able to get out of the pits in 11th place, I believe. So he still has some work to do, but he is definitely moving up in the standings. The other guy that has moved up a ton is Brandon Key. So Brandon Key is up 16 spots. He is up in the 10th position now, started off in the 26th position. And so he has moved up dramatically. And I believe he only took 2 tires.
Yeah, honestly, we'll see how that plays out. As we're entering turn 3, the lights on the pace car are off. Someone better dethrone the man that's been out front majority of the last laps that we've ran in Mid-South Madness, and he will take us back. Green flag racing, this time from the high line. Bobby Brill waiting, and gone, as it looks like the number 11 car out of line. I'm not sure who's in the 11 car. Is that Brandon Key?
That's Brandon Key. Yeah, that's Brandon Key. He did not pass anybody there, so still not a bad thing. I think he just got out of the line because somebody was going slow in front of him.
Well, did he happen? Do we have a number change on Brandon Key's machine, or was he just the incorrect number tonight?
No, he's always been the 11. Actually, he's always been.
I thought he was the 48 for a while.
I believe that was only 1 week. So
okay.
Anyway,
I guess I've been broadcasting with my eyes closed. I remember the moonshine paint scheme that he had week 1, and that's why in my mind he was the 48. So I honestly hadn't noticed that he'd changed to the 11.
So here we go. Brad Herman takes the lead away from Bobby Brill. And we talked a little bit earlier that Brad Herman is all over iRacing. This guy gets more practice than most of us do.
Yeah, honestly, and last week being Kansas week, word around the league was that Brad Herman ran many B official races at Kansas to fixed races, trying to get used to this race car, trying to get used to what it was going to do, and likely, we've got contact. Sean Dice in the wall, collected a couple cars, but no one else crashes. Heavy damage.
So, yeah, still green. So he's going to come around. He's got to get into the pits, get that thing fixed. But Brad Herman still out front, and he is putting a little bit of distance on everybody. The other guy that we need to talk about, Brandon Key, go back to him in the number 11 car. So he has moved up into the 5th position now. So he is making his moves, and he is making that car stick on the bottom side.
Yeah, and I was just going back real quick to see. Like they were coming off of turn number 4. This is going back to the wreck incident. Coming off of turn 4, Bowdler's going to get into the rear ever so slightly of Dice, but doesn't upset it. Oh, okay. After that, it looks like he's going to make a little bit of contact with Brian O'Shell, go up the racetrack, and elected Jay Graves in the right rear corner panel. So that's where that is going to come together.
Well, right now, back out front, Brad Herman has now put about almost a second on Bobby Brill and Chris Massey. And Chris Massey, his teammate back there, was a part of the playoffs the first week and was eliminated, I believe, in week 2 of the playoffs. But definitely a great driver up there, so we expected to see him up front.
Yeah, and he's been putting in the work, Sean. Let's take a look at the current 16th-place machine, if we can. He may have slid back from 16th. Not sure. Yeah, he looks like he's actually going to slide back from 16th. Let's see where he's at on my leaderboard. Maybe 15th? Let's check out the number 6 machine.
There he is. There he is. He's in 15th right now. Yeah.
Was front row, front seat for the incident. Check his right rear if we can. He was front row for that incident involving Sean Dice. Actually did collect a little bit of damage, so that will be incident number 2 for the Daniel Bowdler number 6 machine.
Not what he wanted, but Daniel Bowdler, great driver, so all he has to do is beat one other playoff driver. That's all he's got to do. So we will see how that's going. Right now, he is currently the last place playoff driver, but Aaron Gerwitz is the guy right in front of him right now in that yellow and black 09 car. So those two are racing for that last position. And for those of you wondering, Dean Brummett himself is up in 11th place. He has gained 13 positions on the night already. So he is out there in that number 25 car making it work.
If Dean Brummett wins this race, I'm not sure I can continue my iRacing career, Sean. That is dedication, determination, and just unwilling to lose. One thing that I do want to ask, remind us the incident penalties and the way that they will work, and there's a reason why I mentioned this.
So, right, so every 12X you get, oh, and Dean into the wall, he's going to go through the grass. And so he's going to lose a bunch of spots here just trying to get that thing under control as he gets back out onto the track right there with Aaron Gerwitz. So he's going to drop all the way down to the 17th position as Daniel Bowdler passes him on the outside. So going back to what I was saying, so the incident point limit, so you are allowed 12 incident points. And so in iRacing, if you run into another car or you have a hard hit against the wall, you could get 4 incident points. For a touch on somebody, something like that, it could be anywhere between 2 and 4. It could be 1 for a brush on the wall or an off track, whatever it is. But if you get 12 incident points, you have to go down pit road under green while everybody else is still running.
Well, the reason that I wanted a clarification on that rule, by my calculation, the 4 from the incident with Taylor, the 4 from the incident with Brian O'Shell and Sean Dice, sits that number 6 car at 8 incident points. So we both twos the way the contact actually fell. It wasn't just minor contact. It was pretty heavy contact both times. So he should be sitting around 8 incident points, Sean. And the reason that's huge is because a drive-through penalty here and now would be tough to rebound from with, the way his night has went so far.
Yeah, definitely. And it's, like I said, so hard to pass here at Kansas because really the only line that you can run out here is that outside line. And so if somebody's out there, it's just tough to get around them. And so, but Brad Herman doesn't have to get around anybody. He is out front by about 1.6 seconds now. So he has checked out. And so Bobby Brill in second place. He has about a 3/4 second lead on Jake Roel in third. So both of these two drivers, Brad Herman and Bobby Brill, putting some distance on everybody. All that practice has paid off.
Yeah, and I want to give a huge amount of props. Let's go to the 4th place car and ride along with him for just a moment. Huge props to the guy we talked about pre-race, Sean, as one of the guys that really hadn't had such a hot streak going this season, and Jay Graves for Jam Racing as Jacob Smith runs off track again in the tri-oval, but Stryker obviously making sure the grass is well taken care of down there. But Jay Graves, a solid night tonight. I know he hasn't really had the season he would have liked to have had so far, but he's starting to put pressure on the number 9 machine for the 3rd position now. So big props to Jay Graves and the guys at Jam who deal and try to get better each and every night that we're here. Like to see a lot more out of Jay Graves, so that'll go a long way. I will tell you, 6 car Daniel Bowdler just made his way to pit road.
Yeah, Jay Graves, he is currently sitting 2nd in the Do-Gooders Award, so a nice, clean driver out there, really great driver. I know he was on the pole position in our very first race, so he knows how to drive that car, that's for sure.
Not a good night for Stryker Motorsports as Travis Trevelyan finds the outside wall. These boys are all over the wall, all over the grass tonight. Just hasn't been a hot night for them, but the man that's everybody's checking in on, watching through this race, Dean Brummett, trying to stay alive. And I will tell you, as of right now, going to be better off than some guys around the playoffs because, as I said, Daniel Bowdler has brought that car to pit road. Now, I do not know whether or not it was for a black flag. I don't see one so far. He didn't. It was for a penalty, so I just heard that come across driver chat. He served his penalty, so likely at 12X for Daniel Bowdler. Now, the issue with that, now every 6X after that, Sean, he's going to get another drive-through penalty every 6X after that. So, most of the night, these penalties haven't been of his doing, but every 6X from here. So that's 1 contact with the wall, 1 contact with another driver, puts him in a bad spot.
Yeah, I mean, and it's so tough, especially like we said here at Kansas. It's so tough to get around these people, and sometimes you have to use that chrome horn. You have to use that bumper to get them out of your way, but you got to also be really strategic about it because, again, that incident point limit. Now, I'll tell you that Daniel Bowdler is the first car a lap down, so if there is a caution, then he will get that lap back very quickly.
I tell you, there may be first and foremost, I will add that frustration's very high on the radio chatter for that 6 car right now. Not the night that he wanted, but about a half a lap ago, Matt Johnson made contact with Greg Olnick, pinching Greg Olnick into the outside wall. So this track in Kansas with this setup, Sean, seems to be much like, the Lady in Black at Darlington, biting a lot of these drivers tonight.
Yeah, definitely. And the psyche of this comes into play. There was a lot of discussion this week about the setup and about why the admins couldn't change the setup, and it's because people had already practiced on this setup before, and so by changing it midweek just wouldn't be a good look. And so there was a lot of discussion about that, and sometimes that gets into the head of people where just everybody's got to race on the same setup. Everybody's driving the same car. So that's the point of a fixed setup league, where everyone has the same equipment. Get out there and let's see who the best driver is. And so some of these drivers have already psyched themselves out.
Yeah, and that's, anytime, and I hear the frustration coming across the radio from Daniel Bowdler, and I wish I was free for a moment to go down there and remind him that it's not over for 70 more laps to, keep it cool, keep it level-headed, because sometimes you learn the hard way, Sean. Level heads always prevail, cooler heads prevail, if you will, but it's so easy, running for what essentially is your playoff life, where you get into an incident early and you have to dig your way out of it, but another incident puts you deeper in the hole and you have to dig your way out of that. So it's hard to keep the momentum and the I don't know how to say it, like the determination to dig yourself out of that hole and not make it worse.
So Jake Roel is losing some spots out there. So Brandon Key has passed him for that 4th position. And it could be just part of this long run that's going on where those tires might be wearing out now.
Yeah, and honestly, the guy that has slid into the 3rd spot, Jay Graves, but I want to key in just for a moment on the guy in 2nd place, the tire saving king himself, starting to edge ever so closely back to the 85 of Brad Herman. This man, I've never been in a race with Bobby Brill where I've saved more tire than he has, and we'll see this time across the stripe if he continues. Looks like he's up, then down, down, up, down, and down. So it's still not really a big difference, Sean, when you're looking at 21 thousandths that time, the difference amongst their laps. So definitely keeping Brad Herman honest out in the lead and likely not allowing the driver of that 85 to save much tire himself.
Yep, so, it's just a matter of time before all these green flag pit stops begin. So everybody here pitted on lap 9, so we're 24 laps into the run. Typically, this will go about 27 to 35 laps, something like that. So we've still got a little bit of time left on these things, but you can tell those paces are dropping dramatically as these guys try desperately to find some grip.
Yeah, and if we can, let's actually jump on board with the 6 car, who we said was in a huge hole as of right now. I want to watch the closing rate. Now, of course, he has brand new tires. If I'm not mistaken, he pitted and got the tires as well with his drive-through. So at the closing rate on this 6 car, as he continues, he's got about 3 ahead of him. Right now, he's way faster than our leaders are. You'll see now he'll start to really close that gap upon the 3 cars running ahead of him. Now, though he is a lap or so down, right now he's making up so much ground, going to have to pick and choose where he goes here, tiptoe through the cars ahead of him. But as this run goes on, he is just straight gaining time on everyone. He'll cycle back out, likely high on the leaderboards until everyone runs him back down. But depending, Sean, on the amount of laps he can run, where the cautions fall, if we run green to the end, Daniel Bowdler very much still could win this race with his pit cycle.
Oh, absolutely. And that's always the fun thing, is to look at and see, does the pit cycle help or hurt you? And the best drivers out there figure out a way to let that pit cycle help them. And so Daniel is a very strategic driver. I will let you know that the admins have talked to me and said that he did get an incident point penalty, so he was already at that 12X. So he's got to be careful the rest of the way, and that's what put him the lap down. But here he is. He's trying to get back on that lap.
Yeah, and honestly, I see him really pushing that race car. And again, if I could be the crew chief in his ear, I'd remind him, hey, tone it down. be careful driving through these cars. We saw him go through, I know it was Brian O'Shell, Greg Olnick, I think a couple of those cars back over. He's about to pass Olnick now. So a couple of those guys back further, or maybe that's Crocker here. Those Halloween schemes are all just beautiful. But he's not really taking his time, Sean. He's just flying by these guys. As soon as he gets clear, slamming the door. Honestly putting himself in a little bit of a scary moment where if he slams the door too quickly, that's 4 more X. And he's right back to having to serve another penalty. And, you see there behind him, the 5-car, Mike Lewis, obviously got fresh tires, picking and knocking off spots just the same as Bowdler is. So really has to be careful. See that 2X right there? It could have been, and I'm not saying it was a 2X, but just minor wall scrapes like that in front of other cars could be a 2X. It'll start piling up quickly. And we'll see the 6-car back down pit road if he's not careful.
Yeah, we got to be super careful out here. And of course, he's the only one so far that has served an incident penalty that we're aware of. But him being a playoff driver, that is just extremely harmful to him.
I will say he did just pass the 62 who was on pit road for the lucky dog. Bad news for him. Travis Trevelyan, David Duke, Taylor Smith, all at the tail end of the lead lap. So right now, it looks like he's racing with Mike Lepicki, so he's roughly about the 7th spot. So it won't be long, and he'll cycle back through a few of those guys where, he'll get back to racing for Lucky Dog. I just want to look at something real quick. I thought maybe, Mike Lewis, the car that drove past him, is 2 laps down on fresh tires, but I tell you, I got to give Mike Lewis credit as he continues to slice through this traffic. He's making it look easy.
Yeah, it's easy to make it look easy when you have fresh tires out here at Kansas, but still a lot of fun to watch. But just looking right now at this race that's going on here, and it was a little bit closer just a few seconds ago. But let's dive back up front where Brad Herman has completely checked out. So he is 4 seconds ahead of Bobby Brill. So Bobby was reeling him in for a little bit there, and now Brad Herman has just left the building.
Yeah, and honestly, wasn't a name on my radar. Do want to give an update as we close in on halfway currently. As we've said, Daniel Dow did not make the race, so he is the one of the 2 drivers getting eliminated as they run on lap 41, closing in on halfway. The next driver that will be in the hot seat, so to speak, the 62 currently, Matthew Johnson. If the race ended at this moment, now, of course, there's still a long way to go. If the race ended at this moment, Matthew Johnson would be the other eliminated driver, meaning the man running in 18th right now, Dean Brummett, with double pneumonia and COVID, would survive. But Brandon Key going to bring his car from the lead lap down pit road, going to be the first of the drivers to do so, trying to equalize, Sean, the gap up to Brad Herman.
Yeah, we'll see all these cars coming down pit road here very shortly. They're still going to have one more pit stop between now and the finish line unless they can save some fuel like crazy, which I just don't think they can go 50-something laps to do that. So Jake Roel now into the pit road as well, so one of the favorites of the race today.
Yeah, and honestly, seeing that we had the caution earlier in the race, I just don't see it. It looks about like 30 laps is what you're going to get if that many. I will say Jay Graves got the pressure on right now. Bobby Brill for 2nd position. Brad Herman does lap Travis Trevelyan, and the reason that's bad news is because that no longer makes Daniel Bowdler the lucky dog. But there you see, it looks like Bobby might have caught the wall just a little bit. I see some damage to the right rear of that number 1 machine, so a fast repair will get him feeling right as he continues to try to set sail. Update back to, we'll stay here for the pass that could be Jay Graves with the pressure on.
Yeah, Jay putting some guys. Jay going after Bobby Brill, who's just leading this championship with 4 wins. And so Jay's not afraid of him.
No, and Jay, I thought he was going to lay back there and get a massive run, but it didn't happen. Maybe Jay knows he doesn't want to battle with Bobby. I was just about to say, right as you got into that conversation, I heard the 57 of Adam Pettit say he was coming to pit road. 33, Devin Zimmerman on pit road. Dean Brummett, the man with a plan tonight, maybe missing his pit box. I'm not sure if he actually got to make a pit stop there or not, Sean.
It does not look like he made a pit stop. So, yeah, he came down. I'm not sure if maybe that was a penalty also or if he just missed it. Usually he qualifies extremely high, and so he has a long time to figure out where his pit box is. And so with him qualifying as low as he did, maybe he didn't realize that his pit box was so far out.
Yeah, and I've been guilty of that as well in multiple league races where I have a bad qualifying night. I'm just strolling down pit road thinking, hey, what do I got to do? What can I do for this car to get further ahead? And my crew chief's in my ear. Box in 3, 2, 1. Ah, you missed it. And I continue on down. So maybe that's what happened with Dean. As you said, just, obviously with COVID didn't qualify as well as we normally see that guy qualify. He's usually really solid. Not sure what was going on there with Brad Youngman as he was slow on the bottom. I don't know if maybe he's out of fuel or if he's just nursing that car back to pit road, but he was a little bit lower. Still continuing on with the green flag pit stops. Brad Herman, though, has not brought his 85 car down pit road and didn't get woed up there to do it now. Sean, the one thing that I do have to say for Brad Herman, the longer he's out here with these fast, hungry hounds behind him getting to pit road, it's going to be worrisome. They're going to be fast as he gets caught up right now on the David Duke machine, trying to pin David Duke a lap down. David Duke, for the moment, says, no, sir. Don't think about it, but I believe I just heard the 85 pitting this time. Not sure. Yep, it does look like the 85, maybe.
And so Bobby Brill pitting, Brian O'Shell pitting, and then Brad Herman coming down into pit road as well. So Brad Youngman is the last one that's out there that has not pitted, and so currently scoring in the second position. He'll come around and he will either take the lead or dive into pit road. Looks like he's going to dive into pit road, I believe.
He's just now off at turn number 2, so we'll see. Obviously much slower than everyone out there. David Duke hasn't cycled through to the pit, but he is coming this time by a couple more of the last stranglers or stragglers out there making their way down pit road. I do want to take a moment to let you guys know we've got 17 watching the stream. If you don't care, subscribe so you know when we're always live with Speed Racing Network action, especially heading into next season where big things are coming. Give us a like if you enjoyed the broadcast. If you did not, give us a thumbs down even. We're cool with a thumbs down. Let us know what we did wrong, looking to ever improve it. Just make sure if you do thumbs down, let us know which thumbs down for in the comments. We'll do everything we can to work on it, Sean.
Yeah, now out there on the track, Brandon Key has taken the lead. And so he pitted on lap 41, and he is out front as things get cycled around. Daniel Bowler is technically in second place. Now, of course, he pitted 17 laps ago, or actually, 26 laps ago. So he is going to be way down on those tires. But Brandon Key putting some distance on Brad Herman. Not sure how that happened. Brad had such a huge lead. And here's Brandon just taking over.
Honestly, I'd be surprised if the gap is very big for Brad Herman when he does cycle back to the lead. He will eventually get there. But Brandon Key, I knew once he started pitting that, much like Daniel Bowler, who honestly, that's the biggest thing to think about is Bowler, after pitting from a lap and a half almost down, was up in second place, and that just goes to show each lap you're running a second and a half faster than the guys around you. You're just knocking off quick lap time after quick lap time after quick lap time, and eventually it piled up and it put the 11 car ahead. Now the bad news for him, the amount of time that he has on his tires, and everyone knew her, they're going to be running him down like a scalded dog. Adam Pettit now going to get a little bit hairy around Daniel Bowler, who tags the wall with the rear end. But Adam Pettit does look like he's going to make it clear. Jay Graves, David Duke on new tires making their way around Daniel Bowler. And again, he finds himself in a little bit of no man's land here where all of these guys with the 4 fresh Supermans on their car, and he's just trying to hang on, Sean.
Oh, he could definitely use a caution right now. I know Dean Brummett is stuck right now a lap and a half down. And so if there's a caution right now, then that means that Daniel could come in, get brand new tires, stay on that lead lap, and still pin Dean Brummett down.
Yeah, and as an update, I know we did it about 11 or so laps ago. We'll give another one now. Dean Brummett, currently the man down and out as he sets in 23rd position. So just looking up the standings, no one else a lap down in the playoffs right now. I think the next driver he would have to get to going to be Devin Zimmerman in 11th. So really tough for him. But of course, he will cycle back to in for all the Dean Brummett fans, because I know he brought a lot of them to the racetrack tonight. once Daniel Bowdler pits, he will cycle back ahead of Daniel Bowdler. The bad news for Bowdler, the longer he stays out here on this cycle, the further behind he's going to get. He's running on old tires, they're on new tires, so he's in an ebb and flow situation where when his tires are new, he's behind, he's a lap down, and he's got to catch all of these guys. Well, by the time his tires are old, they're on new tires, and they ain't going to catch Daniel Bowdler. So he's kind of in a back and forth roulette, if you will, trying to decide whether it's going to end good or bad at the end of this thing. And it's, really anything could happen.
Well, truth be told, if he comes into the pits, I'm looking at this at around, everybody pitted around 36, 37 laps in. So if he comes to the pits here in the next, after about 8 more laps, he can go the distance where everybody else has to pit one more time too. So he might still have a shot at this thing.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, barring, Jay Crowell, Daniel Bowdler pitting right now, so not really sure about the call there. Looks like he is going to need another pit stop unless he goes into super conservative fuel-saving mode. Man on the move right now, though, Sean. Man in third. Adam Pettit's coming alive as we get later into this run.
Yes, he is, and you can see Jake Roel back there about to get passed by Jay Graves there on the bottom, but Adam Pettit, who has had probably one of the hottest playoffs that there's been this season. So him and Bobby Brill, both insanely good during the playoffs. He is up in third. Brad Herman has taken the lead away from Brandon Key, and he has, again, already opened up 2 seconds on him. So those fresh tires doing a lot of work out there.
Yeah, and another driver that I wanted to talk about, kind of on a rough strategy right now, is going to be the 62 of Matthew Johnson. He was actually further back than Daniel Bowdler before the pit stop cycle. So once it all cycles back, I think Bowdler will actually be in as well. I think Matt Johnson should, if there's no caution in the next little bit, he should go back to being the last man out.
Well, right now the last man out is Aaron Gerwitz. And so I'm not sure if that's because he's not scoring. I think we lost his car out there on the track, but that's what the scoreboard is showing. So Dean Brummett right now is actually last man, and you can see Daniel Bowdler in front of him. And so that's the battle. I'm not really sure what happened to Aaron Gerwitz.
He just through-putted
the
lobby.
No.
That is huge. Got to be a sigh of relief, and I'm not sure. Oh, there's contact. Matt Johnson around off the nose of the 15 of Jacob Smith.
And so, big yellow there. And so that doesn't really help Daniel Bowdler any, but it also, a lot of these guys will come in and pit to get those new tires. So not really sure what Daniel Bowdler's strategy is going to be here, but we will go back and check out that wreck replay from Dent Wizard.
Huge moment nonetheless for Aaron Gerwitz. He does get reconnected, so he loading back in. We'll take a look. As he said, Dent Wizard bringing us the wreck replay.
And so Matt Johnson on the outside. You got Jacob Smith on the inside. And looks like Jacob just kind of got a little bit further outside than he probably needed to there. But Matt Johnson wasn't exactly up against the wall either. So we will go back and check that out one more time with another view here in just a second.
I think that was kind of seemed just like a racing incident from my point of view. I think Matt come down a little bit, Jacob come up a little bit.
Oh yeah,
the corner here.
2 guys fighting for the same spot, and I mean that happens a lot in racing. So.
Oh no, Jacob Smith actually just going to tag him. The 62 was a little squirrely on the racetrack, but the 15 definitely tagging him in the left rear. Excellent job by Matt Johnson to keep that car out of the wall. Not going to have to use a fast repair here, but pit stops underway.
So here we go. Brad Herman coming in, Brandon Key coming in, Adam Pettit, everybody on the lead lap looks like right now is coming in to get some new tires. Smart move here at Kansas.
The good news for my Dean Brummett fans out there, the downfall, Aaron Gerwitz currently scoring 4 laps down. So Dean is scored 1 lap down as well. The Daniel Bowdler fans, I know Daniel Keith out there pulling for Steak Dance and SRN. Steak Dance right now, only 1 down. Dean Brummett 1 down. And, of course, Aaron Gerwitz, who's, I think he just left pit road, if I'm not mistaken. He was out as soon as they came in. So he is back in the race. 4 laps down. Going to put him down just a little bit, obviously. He is the bottom man on the totem pole, the bottom man on the track. But we'll see what he's able to do here in the end of this. He may get one back here, since he will be between the pace car and the leaders.
Yeah, but so Dean Brummett, Daniel Bowler, both on the lead lap now. And so they will be able to get back out there and fight. However, they will have the older tires. Dean Brummett with extremely old tires, with lap 44 being his last pit stop. So he's got 16-lap old tires. He's going to have to come in and pit at some point.
Yeah, if I was Dean there, and I know, well, he's actually in Discord, but letting him know, if I could, hey, buddy, Aaron Gerwitz is 4 down. You can go ahead and he is actually going to come now. I guess someone let him know, hey, Gerwitz is a few down. He's coming in. Didn't take the wave around there. Getting him some new tires on that 25 machine. Will continue only 1 lap down. So of the cars 1 lap down, I believe he'll be okay to race back up and try to get the lucky dog. Good news for him, obviously.
Definitely. And then, of course, you got Aaron Gerwitz, who, again, showing 4 laps down right now. So he's got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, and honestly, it's tough. We saw last week. We saw Troy Dow have the same kind of internet issues, kicking him out of the playoffs. And it seems as though maybe the case here for Aaron Gerwitz. Anything could happen. Another guy could through-put in the playoffs. We could even see, I think, our front runner right now. Something could happen to Bobby Brill, who finds himself in second. So obviously not. Still a lot of racing left. Anything could happen to any one of these guys. But right now, the guy that's in the roughest spot is going to be Aaron Gerwitz.
Out there in the chat right now, Daniel Keith saying that he thinks he sees some debris out there on the track. We need some more yellows. And then losing internet is the worst. And I agree. There is nothing worse to somebody that is out there driving, especially competing for a championship, than losing the chance because of something that is outside of your control. And so, it's one thing to wreck out. It's a completely different thing for your internet to just crap out on you. And that just puts you out.
The one thing to the back end of Daniel's comment there, someone lost the ballast. I'm sorry, none of these cars had a ballast. I know I heard so many people say, hey, I wish we could change the ballast on the car, raise it a lot, front end turning more. These guys never had a ballast to lose. That ballast has been gone out of the front end of these race cars since the green flag drop. But the one thing that I do want to say, if Dean Brummett makes it through this race, everyone alive in the playoffs should be terrified. Sean, they had the opportunity for the favorite all season long, not a finish worse than 13th to date right now in a field of about 36 drivers typically on each and every week. I think we're a little bit down on car count tonight. We're at 26 cars, but nonetheless, Dean never finished outside of 13th. Got to be scary for the guys racing for the championship alongside of him.
Yeah, now, the big thing with Daniel Bowler is stay clean. Stay completely clean. It doesn't matter if you're the last car on the lead lap. Stay completely clean, because if you do, you're going to make it through because Aaron Gerwitz is so far down. If you don't, then you could have another drive-through penalty, which will put you a lap and a half down, and now Aaron Gerwitz will have a shot to get in there.
Yeah, and I'll get back more to that as Brad Herman taking us back, green flag racing with just under 40 laps to go at the No Place Like Home 150 at Kansas Motor Speedway. If I'm Daniel Bowler, I don't care if I'm 1 lap down, if I'm 2 laps down, I just have to outpace the 09 car. And the thing about that, Sean, is if you can outpace the 09 car, it doesn't matter where you're at on the racetrack, but yes, a penalty will hurt like crazy. Jay Graves up in about 6th position, blinking out on the racetrack. I'm not sure if we will lose Jay Graves or not. Looks like he's good for the moment. He disappeared the entire length of the back straightaway. Scary moment for Devin Zimmerman there as he tries to track him down.
The last few weeks we've had almost nothing but playoff drivers up in the front of the pack. And so this week, Brad Herman trying to play spoiler here, where he could win this race and put all these playoff guys kind of in their place a little bit. But he has just taken off, and Brandon Key also in second place now, making that pass on Bobby Brill. So the top 2 drivers not even in the playoffs.
Yeah, and if I'm worried about anybody right now, if I'm Brad Herman, it's the guy I'm looking back with the pink numbers on the roof of the car, pink numbers on the side. Adam Pettit charging, looking for a hole to find second position here, because if there's anybody you don't want in your mirror, it's the 1 car and the 57 car. And excluding Brandon Key right now, those are the two guys trying to track you down.
Man, I'm thinking I'm playing strategy right now. If I know that Aaron Gerwitz is 4 laps down right now and I'm one of these playoff drivers, I don't care about this race at all. I'm staying at the heck out of everybody's way.
Yeah, and honestly, I was riding alongside of Daniel Ballard, who is taking the opposite strategy. He's still picking guys up and putting them down. He's already passed a few cars and continuing to drive the wheels off of that number 6 machine, trying to get it up here. And that's just his competitive nature. But again, the lone man down there in Stake Dance, he's got to be a little bit smarter than that.
Well, back up front, Brad Herman once again checking out. So he has found something here at Kansas that nobody else has found. He is already 1.7 seconds behind or ahead of Brandon Key. And so he's definitely on a tear.
Yeah, and I actually, man, he's got such a fast race car right now. But if Brad Herman uses up all of his stuff, it's going to open the door for anyone behind him. As you said, maybe Brad's playing the long game, knows they got to make another pit stop, not really worried about saving it. But if there's anybody that can make it back through here and they go into conserve mode, it could get scary.
Yeah, all these drivers pitted on lap 60, and so I guarantee you there are 2 or 3 guys that are out there that will play that long game, that will do everything they can to conserve here to try to stretch this to 40 laps.
Yeah, and the one guy that I key in on when you talk about saving and stretching, the guy that slid back to 6th, Bobby Brill, could already be in conservation mode. He's won 2 races this season off of fuel mileage. Oh, there's contact! Daniel Ballard, oh my word, barely squeezed through that gap there. Jacob Smith, Thomas Rutherford, the C's parted, and that 6 car squeezed his way through there.
Well, we will have to go back and take a look, see what happened back there with another wreck replay by Dent Wizard.
Daniel Baldner on the radio saying that he just saw his playoffs flash before his eyes. You'll see it live. Dent Wizard going to bring it back to you.
That's Thomas Rutherford and Jacob Smith. And then let's see Daniel Baldner coming into the screen right there and snuck through. We will see another angle of that.
A far chase view on Daniel Baldner's car would show the C's part up ahead of him. It would be wild. Just going to pinch Jacob Smith in the outside wall. Nowhere to go. I think Jacob may have thought he was clear, but here he comes. Oh, just squeezing through, Sean.
Wow, what an amazing drive by Daniel Baldner. And just sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. I mean, he's good, but sometimes he's got to be lucky.
Yeah, and honestly, quoting my wife's grandpa, I'd rather be lucky than good, because if I was lucky, then I'd be good.
All right, so here we go. We are into the pits. This might be the last pit stop.
It could be. Honestly, I fully expect it to be the final pit stop. Someone will make it the rest of the way.
We will find out who very shortly as everybody's getting into the pits here. So let's go back out on the track. Jay Graves has stayed out. No, I'm sorry, he did pit. So Jay Graves took 2 tires. He is out on the track. He will take the lead.
Well, the one thing I know, once they all line up, someone will key up in driver chat and say, hey, it never works. But Sean, with a car this tight, taking only 2 tires typically makes your car a lot looser. So it could be a smart move for Jay Graves, trying to free up that race car by only taking right sides.
Well, there's that, and this guy is not in the playoffs right now. So what does he have to lose?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, he has absolutely nothing to lose. The bad news for the guys that are in the playoffs, Dean Brummett still did not get a lucky dog there. He was, one of the final cars to pit road, electing not to take the wave around. But there, the car right behind the pace car, Aaron Gerwitz getting a lap back, going from 4 laps down to 3 laps down. So not giving up just yet. If we get a lot of cautions here where the leaders continue to pit, Sean, he could inch his way back to the lead lap.
Just looking up through the top 4 or 5 here. So Jay Graves, first place. Jake Rowell in second place. So definitely getting in and out of that pit stall quickly. Adam Pettit third. Then Brad Herman, who's led most of this race, is stuck back in fourth.
Yeah, and the car that I saw come up through there, maybe taking 2 tires as well. In fifth place, Brian O'Shell in the 54 car. Hadn't really got to say his name too much today. He's kind of come out of nowhere. Unofficial teammates with Bobby Brill. They've been coaching each other along. Led them to a 1-2 finish last week. So fuel mileage played in their favor. So another guy that knows how to get it done, knows how to save enough fuel, could come into play here in the 54 machine of Brian O'Shell, the Pit Viper car.
And the big joke all week long between myself and Bobby Brill has been, hey, why does the independent team not have any point standings up there? And it's because it's not an actual team. But if you have just him and Brian O'Shell and they do what they did last week, they're going to be tough to beat.
Yeah, and honestly, they've played off of each other very well. I mean, Brill coaching O'Shell on what to do at different points, O'Shell coaching Brill at different points, and had some audio issues last week, so I jumped down and listened to the two communicating with each other, and an excellent job by O'Shell to remind Bobby Brill, hey, you've got to lead, and obviously we had some technical difficulties, so I was of no use to Sean in the broadcast. I jumped down and let Brill know, hey, you've got about an 8-second lead, buddy. I don't know why you're running so hard. He'd push the clutch in, and he'd coast around the racetrack, and by the time he had an 8-second lead, there was no one left to challenge, and all he had to do was survive, and he was able to do just that. I mean, he was well short on fuel, but because no one else saved to pressure Bobby Brill, he was also able to clutch it and save enough fuel. So they know how to get it done. They continuously talk to each other throughout the time. The two guys down in the lone independent channel. This time, it could get wild. Playoff drivers could get into a mess here as the two guys in front have older tires on the left side. We'll see Jay Graves. No spin, though, and we're back to green flag racing.
And we will see if that works out for him. Jake Rowell is going to tuck in right behind him. Adam Pettit right behind Jake Rowell. And it looks like Brian O'Shell going to the inside.
Yeah, O'Shell said, I've got 4, maybe? I don't know if he got 4 or not, but whatever he got, he's trying to use. Not going to stick, just too much drive on the outside with the draft.
So Jake Rowell takes the lead. And now we're going to be watching Brad Herman because he is back in 4th position. Let's see if he can go to work now that he does not have clean air. We'll see what he can do.
Bad news for Brad Herman right now.
Oh!
Man with a plan out in front of him. 57 of Adam Pettit ahead of Brad Herman, and he's going to have to wrestle the lead away from Brad Herman or from Adam Pettit if he gets there. But right now, Dean Brummett's teammate out front, Jake Rowell carrying. Oh, there's contact. Teammates getting together. One in the wall, one with a save. It's going to be Mike Lipicki and Devin Zimmerman going to make contact with each other.
And look who's right nearby. Look who's right nearby.
This man cannot escape the trouble, and I even jumped down there for a brief second and said, hey, dude, chill out. He's 4 down. Aaron Gerwitz is out. And he's at 10-4. Copy that. He's still finding his way next to all this chaos. So maybe the best strategy for Bowler is to try to get to the front and run away with it so there's no one else around, because he's been at the back and there's been trouble. He's been at the front and there's been trouble. He's been in the middle now and there's trouble. So not really sure he's able to escape it no matter where he's at. Just got to survive 24 more laps. Update again, Dean Brummett's internet doing well at the hospital. I've got to call and congratulate the hospital that Dean's at tomorrow for having such good Wi-Fi, because he's about to make this thing work.
Yeah, he's doing a great job out there. He is a lap down. He's the first car a lap down. But again, with Aaron Gerwitz being 3 laps down now, he is sitting pretty good right now. So Dean's just got to just kind of relax, just let the race come to him, let these 23 laps tick off, and then get feeling better. So next week at Las Vegas, he can do his damage.
Yeah, and that's scary, because once the COVID is gone and clear, that's the man that everyone should be worried about. I continue, though, to watch Daniel Bowdler, who hasn't learned anything, Sean. He's still pressuring so hard. Brian O'Shell pulled to the side and said, hey, you can have it. Go ahead, do your thing. But he's just running this race car, and he's coming up on a pack of about 4 right now that Mike Lipicki, I think it's Danny Setzer, one of the Bronco cars. I think it's Chris Massey and Bobby Brill. So in a hornet's nest yet again is Daniel Bowdler trying to stay alive. But I notice Jake Roel, I don't know if he took 2 or if he took 4, but he must have strapped a rocket to the back of that number 9 machine.
I believe he took 4 just based on the time that he was in the pit box. And but the guy that took 2 tires, Jay Graves, in second position right now. So that 2-tire stop might not have been a bad idea. It gave him some great track position.
Hopefully there are some cars taking note if we get a caution here late in this thing. It worked for Jay Graves. We'll see. Oh, there's a stack up of cars. Can they keep it clean back around Daniel Bowdler yet again? Inside, man, there's cars everywhere right there, Sean.
Yeah, everybody's just got to be careful. Get through this thing cleanly. Daniel Bowdler down on the bottom of the track, not really where you want to be here at Kansas, because that car is really, it doesn't like to stick down there. You can see he got really close there to Chris Massey.
Well, when I look at this group of cars, only 2 of them have something to lose in this race. That's the 1 and the 6 car. The guy at the front, the guy in the middle. So, oh, contact between Chris Massey and Danny Setzer, but they're going to come out of it okay, I believe.
So Setzer there on the outside in that number 17 car. Daniel Bowdler down on the inside still. That is not where he wants to be. But he is just not letting up at all. And I think that's the position where, as a playoff driver, I would just say, you know what, guys, everybody pass me. Let me get in behind you guys. Be safe about this. But that's why I'm not in the car. That's why I'm here in the booth.
Yeah, honestly, it surprises me as well. As you know, I run a lot of different leagues and race when we're not broadcasting. But he's 1 spot away now from comfort. If he can just find his way around Bobby Brill, he can finally breathe for the last 19 laps of this race. And just, you know, let it be, as, you know, the song used to say.
Oh, and there's Setzer into the wall, down onto the apron, into the grass. Let's see if we can see if he can get back on the track here safely. He'll stay on the apron so he doesn't ruin anybody else's race. But he is going to fall way back.
Derek De Silva there finding the wall a little bit as well.
So now back up front, this is Daniel Bowdler passing Bobby Brill for 6th position. So this is a guy that was a lap down because of incident points. And now here he is fighting to get into the top 5.
Yeah, and that's just a never quit attitude. But Brill's going to power that number 1 machine back to the bottom. I'd say Brill probably has the fresher of the 2 tires. Brill's really played defense, hasn't went on the offensive, where Bowdler's essentially came up through the field, charged his way up to the lead. But Sean up front, half a second sets the lead for Jake Roel. So not as much as he'd like to have with 17 laps to go, but still yet Jay Graves maintains the 2nd position.
And we will take a look at that. Actually, Jay Graves is in the 3rd position now. Adam Pettit made that pass, and now Adam working on Jake Roel for that lead.
Yeah, and honestly, I think it was, you know, as much as he's fought for it, I think that 57 car, they don't want to battle too long, though, because Brad Herman, once he gets that clean air, he's been gone on the night. But the battle amongst these cars could turn hairy as Jay Graves gets a little close to Adam Pettit. I think just from what I'm hearing from Adam Pettit, maybe making a little bit of contact with Jake Roel there. So here comes Brad Herman charging back into the picture.
He's going to get on the low side. Oh, he got awfully close there to Jay Graves as well.
Man, he's doing all he can. He's just sending it in there at this point. And 5th place, Brandon Key. It's going to allow the racing is going to allow Brandon Key to inch his way back up here. But Jake has held on to the spot for the moment. Again, of course, Aaron Gerwitz still 3 laps down. Dean Brummett, the lone man, 1 lap down. So if the caution comes out, Dean will find his way back on to the lead lap.
And here we go. Pettit down on the inside one more time, trying to make this thing stick. And it looks like he'll clear it.
Slider.
Yep, he will clear.
Clear it quick because Jake's going to have a run off the corner. Jake going to peek back inside now. I don't know that Jake's got the tires to do it on the bottom. That could have been all she wrote, but here comes Jake Graves electing to stay on the high line.
And Jake
Jake's
Roel.
Try a slider. Oh, but the cross by Adam Pettit.
Great racing.
Going to be the 4 car of Jay Graves here. What will he do with it? Brad Herman's back. He's going to nose his way back into this battle. Now Jay Graves goes to the bottom. Oh, trying to get it there. Now the battle for second is exactly what Adam wants to see. Adam's trying to drive off into the sunset here, and if they don't get it sorted out, he will. Brad Herman now putting the pressure on Jake Roel. The lead's gonna open up to about half a second for Adam Pettit, but now they're single file. If Brad Herman is smart here, he'll follow Jake Roel, but it looks like he's gonna race him for the moment, back in line. Try to push that 9 car back to the 57. 12 laps to go, coming to 11 this time by. The battle's still going on for 6th as well. Bobby Brill, Daniel Bowler duking it out, but John, they're making headway back to the lead.
Man, Brad Herman just working so hard just to stick with Jake Roel right now. And let's see if he can make this pass. If he can, it's going to be really interesting because he's got enough clean air between him and Pettit to make a run. You got Jacob Smith down there on the low side, just letting Pettit go by.
Man, those guys racing tight at the top of the racetrack. No room for error amongst 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Brad wants that spot so bad, but knows the car doesn't work on the bottom.
And right now, just to update everybody, so if they go another 7 laps, then Aaron Gerwitz will be the one eliminated. So if this thing goes green another 7 laps, there's nothing that Aaron Gerwitz can do to get back in this thing.
I have a feeling in my stomach, Sean, and I'm praying that my feeling is wrong. I just want to check right now. I'll save it for 7 more laps, but I've got a feeling coming up that I don't like, and it's making me a little bit uncomfortable. I feel if I don't speak it out into the public, out into the air, it won't happen, so we'll leave it be for the moment.
Jake Roel still holding that 2nd position now. While he's doing that, Adam Pettit has opened up his lead to almost a 2nd now. And so this is the race right here to see if anybody can challenge Adam Pettit for this win.
Thomas Rutherford slow on the bottom of the racetrack. Not sure what's going on with that race car. Just trying to stay down out of everybody's way. He could be down on power. Brad Herman looking to the bottom again. He's just going to have to drive it in there and hope it sticks, because if they're not careful, Daniel Bowler and Bobby Brill starting to catch up to Brandon Key. Actually, Bobby Brill only about 2 car lengths away from Brandon Key, so very much back in the race for 2nd place.
And Brad Herman trying to make that move. He had the move there for a little while, and then Jake Roel got it right back.
Going to be a big run down the front straightaway, though, for him. Bobby has been given the green light to pass Brandon Key. Brandon Key said he killed the wall on the driver chat. So Bobby Brill going to pick up some spots here if these guys aren't careful.
Yeah, always watch out for Bobby Brill. He can take advantage of something happening. If there's a yellow flag, just watch for Bobby Brill, because that is definitely going to help him get right back in this race. But Jake Roel working so hard to keep Brad Herman off of his tail that Adam Pettit has opened it up now to 1.7 seconds.
Oh, they're going to be 3 wide off of turn 4 here. The lap car of Jacob Smith. They're going to quickly sort that out. See now Bobby Brill closing in on those 3 cars there. Bobby could walk out of here with 2nd place if they're not careful.
Adam Pettit just loving life right now while all this racing is going on behind him. But let's check in really quick on the number 6 car. Daniel Bowler back here in 7th position after a horrible first half of the race. He is back up in top 10.
Yeah, and I think the man on the move right now is the 1 car and then the 46 car right there behind Daniel Bowler. A couple of quick cars coming through the field as Bobby Brill now has caught the pack in front of him, Sean. He's racing for position. Going to look underneath Jay Graves for the 4th spot. We'll see if he can make a move to get there.
He's got a fender.
For the moment, going to get to the door, side by side, drive it down in the corner. Jay may just let him slide up in line here.
No, not yet. They're still going to stay side by side, but Bobby doesn't mind that one bit. He loves that side by side racing.
Slide job going on for 7th back there. Daniel Bowler going to lose 2 spots, 1 to the 11, 1 to the 46. Sound like the 40 or the 11 slid up in front of him there. So taking that spot back away. Here comes Brill, though. I don't know that he'll get the second place if we stay green, but for the moment, it's starting to get real here for the playoff drivers. I think we will need 2 more laps.
Oh, and we have a caution. We have a caution.
No.
And it's Matthew Johnson, one of our playoff drivers, spinning.
That is not what Adam Pettit wanted to see. And honestly, the good news. Now, here's the good news, Sean. If Aaron Gerwitz does not get a lap back here, he's not out of it yet, because we're going to go to a green-white checkered. And we know what green-white checkers usually bring. They usually bring more green-white checkered. So, oh, Matthew Johnson going to lose it again. That's not going to be good. Got to be careful here, because he's still not in the clear either.
Let's go back and take a look. And it looks like it's just single car damage here, just kind of getting up into the wall. You'll see it on your screen. Just the car does not turn, gets up into the wall, just goes spinning.
Right in front of Aaron Gerwitz there. Gonna turn that car to bring it back down the racetrack, not to come back up in front of traffic. Race will be extended for a green-white checkered, so seeing what Aaron Gerwitz does here. The bad news, Dean Brummett not going to get his lap back via the lucky dog, because Jacob Smith held that position, running right with the leaders and his new tires.
And so it looked like Matt Johnson was trying to get into the pits there and just overshot it. And so we'll go back. This is the second time that he spun out under this caution. So look at him down there on the track. Looks like he sees the pits right about here and decides, oh, I'm going to pit. I can't make it.
Let's see. I'm going to reply to this message real quick, because I know what happened last time I got this confidence from a driver. Let's see. May have another call your own home run type deal coming here, Sean. We'll see in just a few seconds when I get a message back.
Well, we see Bobby Brill in second position right now. So a lot of these guys decided to jump in and get brand new tires. And so Adam Pettit stayed out, Bobby Brill stayed out, David Duke stayed out, Greg Olnick stayed out, everyone else with brand new tires. And so we've been seeing, 1 to 1.5 seconds per lap on this thing. And so the first guy with brand new tires is none other than Brad Herman, who's led most of this race. He's going to be in prime position to win this race if he can just get around the 4 guys in front of him.
Yeah, and pretty stout race cars there in front of him. David Duke kind of been at the back most of the night. Finally got it up there, though.
Just checking out there on the track. So Aaron Gerwitz will still be 3 laps down.
So mathematically, let's see. Mathematically, he's still got a shot. It's not a very good one, and the reason I say that is because right now, if we go green, the caution comes out, Dean's back on the lead lap. He would then need to take a waiver round. I don't think these guys at the front are going to pit if there's another caution. So chances are, as long as Dean Brummett can take the green flag here under this caution, it won't matter, Sean. He will move on. Bobby said he doesn't know if he can get it done. He's saving his tires pretty good. He's got about a 2-car buffer behind him before Brad Herman gets there. But the car that I'm worried about here, Sean, just looking at the incident points in the race. Let's see, Duke's been so patient tonight. Bowdler's still in it. Team SRN, get it. What Daniel Keith said. Pits were closed, debated entering closed pits. I think that was referencing Matt Johnson. I'm not sure what was going on with that 62 car, but the lights, maybe for the final time, out on the pace car. Adam Pettit out front. Bobby Brill, same strategy. David Duke out there. David eliminated from the playoffs early on. Greg Olnick. See if he holds up his teammate at all or if he just lets him go. See, Brad Herman jumps down on the inside here. I think for 2 laps, Sean, you can make that inside work. At least for the first lap, you'll be able to make it work.
Adam Pettit will see if he goes on the defensive for the block or if he just says, hey, I don't care if I finish this thing 15th as long as I finish it in the playoffs. I think the guy with the new tires that's going to be going for it. Adam's got to get a good jump, though, because Bobby Brill holds the top side. He'll carry the momentum. John, we're about to find out. Pace car out of turn number 4, about to leave the racetrack for what could be the final time. Back in the hands of Adam Pettit, and he spins the tires. Oh, it's crazy. Here comes Brad Herman already challenging to the outside of Bobby Brill for second.
So Brad Herman got out there to the outside very, very quickly while everybody else was spinning their tires. And so now it's going to be between him and Adam Pettit. And here comes Herman down to the inside. He is going to take that position. Pettit does not have the tires to hold him up.
Well, the car that I've got my emphasis on, the man in third place now. He's driving it in deep, and he's had a terrible night. Can he get it done? He's got 1.5 miles to figure it out. David Duke.
Oh, we got some spinning. We got some spinning, but we are under white flag. So white flag lap. So we are going all the way now.
And that does mean, unfortunately, that Aaron Gerwitz will be the man outside of the playoffs looking in. Dean Brummett, double pneumonia and COVID, going to get it done and transfer. And Daniel Bowdler, after a terrible, terrible night, going to look to bring his 6th machine home in second. But the guy that deserved to be there was up front all night off at turn number 4, Brad Herman. Going to take the checkered flag at Kansas.
What a great race. Oh, my goodness. What a great finish. As you see the fireworks here at Kansas for a great finish by Brad Herman.
Now, the worrisome part about that finish there, Sean, any of those guys that were close to 12, I saw some wrecking back. If by chance they got to 12X before the finish of that race, they will drop down the standings. So shouldn't affect anyone too bad. I don't think it'll change the outcome. Big tags from everybody wanting to see Herman. I knew, man, he's been all over the place in iRacing.
What a great race for him. And he is going to burn it down on the track. Congratulations to Brad Herman. And we will get him in for an interview just shortly. But by what we have right now on our scoring, so second place was Daniel Bowdler, third place was Jake Roel. Oh, and now everybody wrecking there on the inside. So Dean Brummett just happy to make it through. Jake Roel just happy to make it through as well. So let's pull up the results here. And so first place, Brad Herman from Bronco Motorsports. Second place, Daniel Bowdler. Third place, Jake Roel. Fourth place, Adam Pettit.
Fifth place, Mike Lepicki. Sixth place, Brandon Key. Seventh place, Jake Raves. Eighth place, Chris Massey.
Ninth place, Bobby Brill. 10th place, Danny Setzer. 11th place, Travis Trevelyan. And 12th place, Brad Yockman.
13th place, Derek De Silva. 14th, Devin Zimmerman. 15th, David Duke. And 16th, Brian O'Shell.
And Matthew Johnson back in 17th position. 18th is Taylor Smith. 19th is Greg Olnick. And rounding out the top 20, Jacob Smith from Stryker Motorsports. All right. Well, what a fantastic race. Let's see if we can't talk to a couple of people here. And let's see if we can start off with our third place driver, which is Jake Roel. Let's pull him up into the broadcast booth and see what he's thinking about this race. So, Jake, this is Sean and Brandon up in the booth, man. How's it going?
Oh, man. I don't know how to feel right now, to be honest with you guys.
What a race. I mean, it was back and forth. Yeah, you were kind of you were kind of top 5, top 10 that entire race. I know emotionally, though, with your teammate being in the hospital, seeing him out there on the track, what did that do for you?
Well, honestly, didn't think he was going to make it. He was talking to us all day, so really was just trying to go out there and put on a show for him because before any of this, any winning a championship or anything, it's all about, Dean making sure he's safe, everything like that, and getting through COVID. So really that's all I cared about. So when he got in here and was able to get his way into the next round. That's when the gloves came off for me at that point. I just wanted to make sure we both advanced, and we definitely did that today.
Yeah, you did. I mean, just a great job out there on the track, and of course, had a lot of rubbing out there, a lot of really tight race cars. I know the setup had been a huge issue this entire week. What did you do to combat that setup?
Well, Sean, I can't give away all my secrets, but I guess just JFR. That's about all you can say without giving it away. I really just wish I could have got that last restart, a clean jump there without the unfortunate event of getting doored, but it is what it is. Because I feel like I could have had a really good shot racing Herman with it, or racing Brad Herman for the win.
Hey, man, still a third place finish. So, do you have anybody you want to thank before we drop you back down there with your teammates?
Yeah, of course. First and foremost, you, Sean. Obviously, Striker Motorsports wouldn't be possible without you. Silverback Tax Solutions, if you need to get your taxes done or any trouble with the IRS, hit them up. As well as RSR, boys back home. That's why we do it. And then obviously, again, I just cannot say how proud I am of Dean Brummett. I mean, this dude's out here wheeling it and dealing it while battling COVID in the hospital on a rolling cart with his sim setup. So props to him. He's the real winner.
Absolutely. We're going to pull him into the interview here in just a second, just to kind of get his thoughts also. But congratulations on a third place finish, and good luck next week in Las Vegas.
Appreciate it. Time to roll the dice.
Let's do it. All right. Let's see if we can, before we go to our second place winner, let's see if we can grab Dean Brummett really quick. Just really want to kind of chat with him, and hopefully he's feeling up to it, up to a little bit of chat. So, Dean, this is Sean and Brandon up in the booth, man. How's it going?
Going good, buddy. How are you guys?
Man, it is great just to hear your voice. Good to see you out there on the track. Never seen such dedication, and man, you kind of cut it close out there, but looks like Aaron Gerwitz kind of gave you a gift with his throughput.
I know it. I hate to see someone lose it that way, but I was just fortunate enough that this hospital Wi-Fi that I'm on is pretty stable and was able to get all the laps in. And I tell you what, guys, I'm exhausted, honestly.
I'd say so, buddy. I'd say you're absolutely, you'll have nonetheless, hopefully a good night's sleep. But I made the joke earlier that I didn't know how well it would work for you because when my son was born, we were in that same hospital and I couldn't even stream Netflix. So I guess I've got to call them tomorrow and congratulate them on their upgrade because, man, you just pulled it off. You stayed alive, buddy.
Yeah, man. I just want to thank so many people, my friends, my family, my racing crew, my brother, my mom, my wife, who managed to get me this computer and my steering wheel and pedals all here in the hospital, and just sheer unadulterated luck. My iRacing, I was wondering on the installation if it was actually going to finish in time, and it finished installing as qualifying opened up. So I by the skin of my teeth I got in here, and I'm just, like I said, I'm happy to be moving on to the next round.
Well, buddy,
Hopefully
go ahead.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Hopefully we can have a little more comfortable arrangements for next week for Las Vegas.
Well, definitely, man. Well, we're going to let you go. We're going to let you get back to get your rest. Definitely get as much rest and fluids as you possibly can. Buddy, we just love you. We're wishing the best for you, praying for you, definitely. And be sure to let your wife know that she's amazing for putting up with it.
Hey, we love you guys. Thank you so much. And congrats to Brad on his win this evening.
All right, buddy. Take care.
Hey, thank you guys. Bye-bye.
All right.
Before we pull anybody up, I want to, I just want to focus in and take a moment to say, that's our second racer this season that has actually contracted the COVID virus. Obviously, we didn't get to talk to Chad when he had it, but, as far as interview wise, but you heard, I mean, if anybody knows Dean Brummett, knows the excitement and, I know you know what I'm talking about, Sean. Like it didn't seem like Dean. Like he just feels, I don't think this 21st place finish and staying alive really goes to show what I can tell by that interview that he dealt with, because he just wasn't Dean Brummett there. Like he feels absolutely horrible.
Yeah, absolutely he does. And I got to tell you, just and I'm going to brag on my wife a little bit. So she's the head nurse on the COVID unit at the local hospital, and what she'll tell you is that even for the stronger guys, the younger guys, that sort of thing, where this isn't supposed to affect them that much, it drains you. It absolutely drains you. So for him to stay in this thing for an hour and a half and to put as much focus as he did on that is absolutely incredible. So I look forward to seeing what he does next week.
Yeah, and honestly, just big props to him, big respect, because it's so easy to just say, hey, it's whatever. I don't feel like doing it. And, maybe brought some of his sanity back because, being in the hospital 24 hours a day where they're not really allowing anybody in there with you. He's away from his wife, he's away from his family. Tough, it's tough. And Dean just stayed alive and made sure. When you watch this back, Dean, forget the practice this week, buddy. You've obviously shown you've got what it takes without practice. Make sure you get yourself feeling better. And for everybody else out there watching, make sure you guys stay safe because, as Sean said, even if you think it's not going to affect you, it's still going to drain everything out of you.
Well, man, let's move on a little bit. Let's get Daniel Bowdler up here, talk about his second place finish because Daniel had his own issues out there on the track. So Daniel Bowdler, this is Sean and Brandon up in the booth. How's it going, buddy?
Oh, a lot better than it was about an hour and a half ago, man.
I bet so. Yeah, we saw a little bit of trouble there in the first 25 laps or so, and then all of a sudden you just came alive.
Yeah, that first half of that race was not at all how I wanted that to go. I put myself in that position with a horrible qualifying, but just stayed after it, man. I mean, this never gave up, and I knew we got a little bit of a cushion there when Aaron had his trouble. I mean, that sucks for him. I know he had a really good car, and I feel like he really deserved to be moving on. He was really up and coming, but I got a little bit of a cushion there when he had his trouble and just kind of stayed in it, put my head down and went to work and wound up back up there where I should have been probably the whole race.
Yeah, man. I mean, just really a great comeback story for yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Got to thank everybody there that has helped me out and get me a little better with the tire saving. Adam Pettit's been a huge help for me here the last few weeks and stuff, getting me better where I can save some tire and have a little bit more on the longer runs. That definitely came in clutch for me tonight. Man, what a comeback. I'm excited.
Well, buddy, so you're the last guy on Stake Dance, still in the playoffs. I know we had a couple of issues last week with one guy missing the race and another guy basically putting through it. So with you being the last one on the racetrack for Stake Dance, what is your mentality and what is your team's mentality to help you out?
I think it's the same mentality we've had through the whole season. We do a good job of working together and getting strategies figured out through the race when we're all in here together. Tonight was a little rough. I was the only one in here. Had to kind of figure it out on the fly for myself, but made it a little easier being a lap down, just kind of cruising around. So that worked out. But no, I think we'll be fine. We're going to keep racing as a team like we've done all season. That's what got us all four in the playoffs, and that's what's going to get us to the final round here and hopefully win a championship.
Well, buddy, we know you race for Stake Dance. Is there anybody else that you would like to thank before we send you right back to your team?
Yeah, we got CMC Fabrication on the car, Speed Racing Network for putting all this stuff on. Just everybody that's came forward and sponsored for us. I know Silverback Tax Solutions down at Wizard. I'm sure I'm going to forget them all, man. We've got so many great sponsors to be able to put this league on and have helped me along the way. Just so many guys, so many outfits and organizations to thank here, but I'll never remember them all. I'm terrible at that kind of stuff. Need to get better at that too.
Sounds good, buddy. Well, we'll let you get back to your team. Congratulations, and we'll see you next week in Las Vegas.
All right, guys. Thank you. Hopefully my luck's a little better when I go to Vegas.
Sounds
Congratulations,
good.
buddy.
Thanks, guys.
All right, one more interview to go. Let's see if we can get Brad Herman in here. A dominant performance by him all night tonight. He was up front. So, Brad, this is Sean and Brandon up in the booth, man. How's it going?
Oh, pretty good, man. How are you guys?
Doing excellent. Congratulations on a fantastic race. You pretty much dominated that race. What went into the last few laps?
Man, I pitted and I felt crappy. I knew I made the bad choice and I just stuck with it, and Pettit spun his tires and got into Bobby and everybody made contact and I somehow managed to just come through it. It was crazy.
Well, I've got to tell you, first of all, congratulations. This is well deserved, well earned across, the work you've been putting in. I think just about everywhere I turn and something I'm running, I hear the name Brad Herman. And coming into this season, I had no idea who you were, but I've learned very quickly who you are and know that you've got the talent to do this each and every week, buddy. I know it's got to be finally nice that the hard work has paid off as much as you've been running.
Oh man, I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, I got iRacing not too long ago, and I just put my head down and try to learn as much as I can and be a student of the game, and I think it's paying off.
Well, man, you're kind of a newcomer to Bronco Motorsports. You weren't there all season long. What has Bronco Motorsports done for you?
Oh man, Chris has been awesome as a leader, just giving me a shot and helping me out, and kind of learning the ropes that I don't know, and it's been a really great experience so far.
Definitely, man. So before we let you go and celebrate with your teammates, is there anybody that you'd like to thank before we let you get back to it?
I'd like to thank our sponsors, Tough Love Rings, their premium silicone rings. Use code Bronco at checkout for 25% off, and our newest sponsor, Sandwich Man Racing Sports Memorabilia. You can find them on Facebook and Instagram for all your diecast and collectible needs.
Oh, absolutely. I love my Tough Love ring. I've got it on right now. Absolutely amazing stuff. We appreciate you turning me on to it, and we love watching you race all week long. We'll see you next week at Las Vegas.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you.
All right, buddy. You take care.
Yeah, you too.
All right, so here we go. We've got 2 weeks to go, and that is it for MidSouth Madness for this season. So next week, the playoffs, week number 5, we're down to 7 drivers at the Hold'em or Fold'em 150 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Man, it is going to be an absolutely insane race out there. And so we are going to have a good 100 laps there at Las Vegas Motor Speedway to figure it all out. We are going to see who gambles with what as we drop all the way down to the top 5, and those final 5 will get paid the following week. So definitely a lot of fun going into the playoffs. We are about to see some really great racing next week at Las Vegas, but please come back and join us next week for the Hold'em or Fold'em 150 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway here on Speed Racing Network. For my broadcast partner, Brandon Superman Brand Browning, and myself, Sean Griffith, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and we will let you go tonight. Have a great week. We'll see you then.